Hey, crew, welcome back to another episode of the Skippy Report. On this episode, I have the pleasure of sitting down with CJ Coccia of TELECOLO. So, this one runs a little long, which was awesome because, as TELECOLO is, it's very organic, and so is this interview. So, you might want to listen to it in two parts. So, as I usually say, grab yourself a beverage, sit back, kick up. Don't be drinking and driving. You could drink and garden, do all that stuff. However, it's a little cold out there now, getting to the end of October, beginning of November. So, enjoy this episode as much as I did talking with CJ. CJ!
Yo, can you hear me?
Oh, definitely.
Sweet.
Welcome to the Skippy Report, the best telemark podcast in the world this week.
Oh my gosh.
This week,
You're much more on it than me right now, so I'll give it to you.
Wow,
I appreciate that. It looks like where you're doing this is a storage place, just kind of like what my actual home is right now.
Well, you know what? My whole home kind of looks like this because I call it the base camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's constantly stuff in flux, and you're just boxing shit and having to move it and wondering what it is and trying to move it so you can function in the spot. Yeah, that's I don't know if you can see, but I've got just piles of boxes kind of
Yes.
right here as we get ready for the tour. So I understand the constant in flux base camp sort of routine.
And it may not ever end because I have children. Sometimes they move. I end up with their shit in my garage. And my garage is my space where I keep all my tools. I'm a carpenter.
Right.
And I have to move 45 things just to get into one area to get one tool out half the time.
Yeah. It's I feel like I'm constantly apologizing to my partner saying, all right, we're about done with this, so the boxes are going to be gone, and then somehow something else comes up in life.
Exactly.
It's just a new style of boxes or binders or whatever, so it's just constantly in flux. And
yes.
Yeah, I think I'm the one usually trying to find somebody that has said storage room or a garage or something to put my shit in.
I've tried to mention to my youngest daughter, it's like, maybe you should look into having a storage unit.
Yeah,
doesn't have to be big
as well.
Doesn't have to be big.
Not at first. You get your entry level storage unit, and then you fill that up, and you're like, oh well, they have a discount right now if I up it up 100 square feet or something, and then you're in the hole, but in a different location.
That's right. I'm in the basement of my house, which for the majority of my children's, I think for their entire life, it was not finished because I called it the wrecked room because they could come down here and do whatever they wanted.
Right.
You know, so then once they left,
space.
yeah, and I only have two girls, so I can't imagine what it would have been like if I had boys.
I think both genders are capable of making a mess.
Yes. Anyway, so welcome to the Skippy Report.
Yeah.
And first off, I want to thank you for all that you do for Telemark Skiing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, because you know what? You do it on a much more grander scale than I used to do here in Ontario. And when you get old, I don't think I'm as crotchety as Adam yet, but and he's much younger.
I don't know if many people are.
But that's just, do we let people know that that's just his, let's say, radio personality or streaming personality?
That's his hard exterior skin covering the sweet boy that is the interior of MrAdamX. Yeah.
And you know what? He'd probably be a good teacher because that's what you have to be most times as a teacher. You have a heart of gold, but you got to have armor on the outside.
Oh, 100%, which helps, right?
Yes.
But yeah, he's definitely the one that he's really hard on you, and then you kind of go up to that person or someone comes up to you and they say, the only reason that he's being mean to you is because he cares.
That's right.
And it becomes a sweet relationship later on. So and those people are great. I love them.
Yeah.
Obviously I tolerate them too. So
yeah. I had a basketball coach and I went by his saying. It says, if I stop talking to you, then you got to start worrying.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's funny you say that because that is kind of I think a lot of people don't react well to that, but that was something I reacted extremely well. Even kind of learning tele too. I had somebody that was constantly telling me what I was doing wrong, every second, which can be pretty demeaning when you're already kind of having the worst time of your life on a place that should feel familiar.
Right.
But it works. Like if
Yeah.
you can react to it and accept it, you start to build from that, right? But if you don't, then it just feels really mean. And if
Yes.
it's silent, you just kind of do the same shit, whether it's right or wrong the whole time. So no, those people are great in this world.
Well,
we need them.
That's me for sure, because one year I had my cousin's son live with us, and he said he was a skier. And he said, I'd like to learn telemark. So I had a fleet of equipment here. And I said, okay, I got a pair of boots for you and a pair of skis. I took him out and said, okay, we're going to ski alpine, do alpine turns. And like Adam says on his show, you know, you can ski one day a year and you call yourself a skier. And I was hard on Jordy. So Jordy, you're making the podcast here.
Congrats,
I was like,
Jordy.
Dude, you suck. You're not a skier. And I rode him all year long every time we went out. And then on the last day, we were skiing at our home mountain in Quebec. And I was down the bottom. I was waiting on my wife and he to come down. And I'm looking for Jordy. Because as a phys ed teacher, I very quickly can learn people's body movements.
Right.
And kinesthetics in the hill and all that sort of stuff. I couldn't find Jordy. I was like, and then he comes skiing up to me. I was like, dude, you're not Jerry anymore. I said, you are a
the
skier.
Evolution had occurred. Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, he's gone into university and his skis and boots have been sitting here for a couple of years. He hasn't touched them. It's like,
sad.
I got to get him out again. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could be like that more openly. I'm definitely kind of timid at first because I want people, because I do know people react pretty negatively sometimes to direct comment, comments, because I think you get that in school, and then after that you get into the real world, you don't get that anymore because people don't want to create that sort of conflict or friction or whatever. So I'm always a little nervous at first. So I'll kind of chime in a little bit, see how they react, chime in a little bit, and just like wait till I can tell that they're totally okay. It's like, all right, you're welcoming me into commenting. It's not because I have a problem with you or we, anything like that.
Yeah.
So it always takes me that grace period of like, okay, we're all good. I can start saying the things that, I think that you could fix. This isn't because you're the worst human being in the world. It's because you'll have a better time if you fix this.
Right.
And that sort of thing. So yeah, it takes me a little bit to get there. I can't come out right out the gate to people like that, but it is good because that's what helps people.
Yeah. Those were the first words out of my mouth on the first day of school. I'm caring. I'm not nurturing.
Yeah.
The rules in my class are sit down, shut up, and do your work. I'm here to help you.
I think caring and not, caring and not nurturing. Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it because those are two very different things, but they can get lumped up into one thing.
Yeah.
If not really looked at. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, so for the listeners, we have CJ Coccia here. I hope I said your last name correctly.
You said it better than my parents do, so that's good job. Yeah. My mom says Coccia and my dad says Cocchi, so it's really kind of up to interpretation apparently.
You coochie.
It's all over. I've been called worse.
and he's of TELECOLO. That's right. And you are home right now?
I am. Yeah. So I kind of the last little bit that I'm going to be home for the next couple weeks.
Wow.
We just finished doing the Denver premiere for our film tour for this fall. And I've got kind of this slight grace period to figure out what to do with all of these boxes to get them all organized and everything and get merch stuff together, AV equipment together. And then I'll be hitting the road on Thursday and will not be returning until right around Thanksgiving.
Wow.
I'm kind of working most of kind of the Northwest US on the film tour.
Wow. And you know what? I have to give you props. A friend of mine bought some stuff from you. You sent him a message and said, I apologize. I didn't get onto this right away. I think you were in Japan. Oh, no, you were in BC skiing.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
And, you say, hey, pick something from the website, whatever it was, so that's props. I love people who do stuff like that. So for the listeners who are pinheads, you need to go to TELECOLO if you haven't already done so and show CJ some love.
Thanks. Yeah, I always feel bad because I do all the shipping and fulfillment from my place and everything like that. And obviously, once the winter hits, my schedule's just all over, and I never
Right.
want to push that burden of dealing with Shopify and printing out shipping labels, especially when it's international.
Yes.
I'm always even still terrified of shipping stuff international because it's like, oh, I hope I do it the right and press the right buttons so that it doesn't get held at the border or something like that. So,
yes. Well,
no, like,
here's a stupid thing. Now, for Canadians to send stuff to the U.S. as a gift, we have to go through this whole process to see if it's a tariff possible product.
Oh,
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, not unexpected, unfortunately, but yeah, that's it's just like shipping and using any mailing service is already kind of a pain. You get that base level pain, and then you add those little kind of like expert challenges that makes you kind of want to put the game down, if you will. You know, you're like, even for for Kings and Queens, I put together a bunch of prize packs for all these teams. And we had 2 teams that were out of Canada this year. And, I kind of blew it this summer on organizing it and was still waiting for some companies to get me stuff. And it got to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm literally just going to drive it to you because I'll be going up towards Squamish for the film tour, and they're coming for it. It's like, I know if it's in the van, it's at least with me, and I'm not losing sight, especially with tariffs, because, not with tariffs, but for my end, but just when you ship it, you have to have a special code for every type of merch. So if it's like stickers or shirts, so like a prize pack, which is just a mismatch of just everything.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to list it unless I wanted to individually put everything there, which I don't.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what? I'll just bring it across the border with me, and you can grab it there.
Yeah.
Saves us a ton of money, and also I know it's going to get to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's such a nightmare.
I know it's
but thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, because I remember the first time Josh said he was working on something in Free Hill Life, and then I found out it was his first line of skis, and I was like, dude, I'm in. So I think I got his very first pair of switchblades.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, ship them up here as my birthday present. So like they end up costing me like, I don't know, $1,200 Canadian or something like that, $1,000 Canadian, and then I go to pick them up and I have to pay an extra $130 because of the customs handling fees. I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Obviously I don't think many people on the pod, well, maybe they do want to know about the intricacies of shipping across the border, but this is interesting to me because do they just send you a check or they hold it and you have to go pay somebody?
Yes,
I've never understood.
That's right. Yeah, so we either have to go down to the post office or DHL. DHL and UPS are the worst. So if you're shipping stuff to Canada, don't use the USPS.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. That's good for me to know. I've learned something today, so that's great.
Yeah, because you know what? I was a PSIA tele instructor, and I needed a manual. It was going to cost me, I think, $35 to get the book up here, and it cost me, I don't know, $13 to get the book for the manual. I was like, so I have a friend who lives in Ellicottville, New York, and I said, hey, Adele, can I send this to you? And the next time I see you, I'll pick it up. She goes, sure. So that's how I try to take care of stuff.
That's wild. The things we go through for textbooks and learning and skis and whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying not to reiterate what you and Adam talk about. And
we talk about BS, so that's, you can.
But I'm making my questions, and then I was like, oh, I can't use that one. They just talked about it. So
you're good.
No, so when did you get into telemark, and how did you get into telemark? And why?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. I grew up as a skateboarder where everyone remembers the day, or at least the year they got into it. So they start to saying, a lot of my friends, even some of my older friends, say I've been skateboarding 40 years now or 30 years or whatever. And I've always been really bad at remembering that year or whatever. And that didn't change for telemark. So it's somewhere between like 12 and 14 years ago, I want to say, give or take a couple of years too. So maybe expand that to like 10 to 16 years or something.
Yep. That gets worse as you get older. I'll have conversations with my wife and she goes, no, that was like 3 years ago. I was like, no, that happened before we retired, which was 7 years ago. And she's like, oh.
Yeah, I can feel it getting worse by day almost. Um, but yeah, I actually got into telemark skiing through my connection with kind of the telemark or the skateboarding crew that was here in Colorado at the time, mostly in the Front Range area. Once I moved to Colorado from Florida for school, I met this guy Brian Strickland and a few others and would go skate with them throughout the season. He actually worked for a place that made hummus and stuff like that. So they had this really nice facility with smooth ground. So during the winter, we'd go and meet up and skate in there too. Whether the owners of that facility know about that, I'm guessing not. Walk-in fridges are really great for beers, by the way. There's nothing cooler than walking into a full refrigerator for a beer. But yeah, so we would skate during the winter, but I would notice from summer to winter, he would be showing up later or sometimes be stuck up in Summit County or something like that. And that was always kind of like, hey man, why are you blowing off skateboarding? Like, this is what we do. And I found out once the snow started falling, he would go telemark skiing, which, again, as a skateboarder that did snowboard for a bit, the idea at that time, the idea of skiing is kind of like forbidden. You're always a board sport person. So that was really strange to me. I went with him to Eldora, which is outside of Boulder, one day and saw him on these telemark skis, which I'd never seen ever in my life. And he kind of welcomed me into this group of all of his other tele friends that all seem pretty cool. Some cliche stuff, all gardeners, all love talking about Grateful Dead, yada, yada. Everyone can be mad at me for saying that. But they were such a cool group of people. And I think at some point I had enough beers where I agreed to Brian's essentially offer of teaching me to telemark ski the following winter, because I wasn't really snowboarding much anymore. I had gotten pretty bored of it. It's going up to the mountains maybe once or twice a year, but still paying for a pass. So they were winning that game on me. And I went and bought boots. Didn't realize that boots were $750 versus $200 snow boots or whatever at Larry's Boot Fitter in Boulder, and went up to Copper on their opening weekend and had a horrible 45-minute first run, breaking poles, sweating, people asking me if I'm okay. My buddy just left me, which is another way to teach people, is take them to the top and bail.
Right.
So yeah, had a horrible time, but the fact that it was so foreign felt like it was relearning skateboarding again, or relearning how to ollie again. And to me, that was really cool to try to pick up something new, especially knowing this small little avenue of culture I'd already been introduced to.
Right.
He was nice enough to care about me, but not nurture me through the whole season. And we would ride, a lot of the smaller runs at Copper. He would yell at me, tell me what I was doing wrong, and just kind of slowly got into it and slowly transitioned from, this is such a challenge and I hate it. I mean, it's still a challenge, but just something that was more, this is more pain than kind of a good, warm, fuzzy, like this was a great day sort of feeling. And it transitioned into that more fun feeling, and kind of here we are. Yeah. So just kind of a random thing that came through my skateboard friend, because he would bail on us. And
that's awesome.
I don't know. Somehow I'm still here with all of it.
When you talk about him yelling at you, I was, we were doing a training session at this one resort here just outside of Toronto with some of the people, because we would run a race series here in Ontario. Okay. And so I'm yelling at this one guy from the chair, and it was the first time I had met him, really. And my other friend yells down to me, he's deaf. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh.
Because I had talked to him, but sure enough, Richard was deaf. So I'm like yelling at him. Can't hear a thing I'm saying. He's too far enough away to hear,
you can
to
wear
read
out
my
your
lips.
voice, but that's not going to do anything.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, how did you transition from being a skier to a sports promoter? What was
accidentally?
Oh yeah.
I feel Brian and I stuck together for a while, going on all of our ski trips, skateboard trips, and stuff like that. And obviously, if you're skateboarding or you're traveling to another state to skateboard, you have a lot of time to sit in a vehicle and talk bullshit. If you're going to the mountains, especially here in Colorado, and you have to take 70, got a lot of time in your hands just to sit and talk bullshit. So while we had all that time, I think we would just think more and more about fun little creative things we could do, making a koozie or making a shirt. This had nothing to do with skiing at the time,
Right.
but just wanted to make stuff. And for some reason, I think Telemark Skiing eventually bit me to that second level where I think a lot of telemarketers, it goes from you don't know what it is to you've been handed the gear from a thrift store or something to you have a couple rough seasons trying to learn it to all of a sudden you care about it in this weird way that you want to share it with people or get more people together, or you want to explore kind of what's going on. So when I hit that phase of trying to see what else was going on in telemark, Josh had already stopped doing his films with lipstick. There wasn't really any film tours or anything.
Right.
I wasn't seeing, I know there was Midwest Telefest going on and stuff, which I actually didn't know at the time because I just algorithm didn't feed me in that direction.
Right.
But I didn't really see much for events. We have all this stuff for alpine skiers, all this stuff for snowboarders, but nothing for tele skiers from what was exposed to me.
Right.
So I kind of started with just, hey, why don't we do a meetup? I can't remember. I think we started the account, which was originally in Telemark, Colorado, threw it out there and just said, hey, we're going to 8 Basin this day. We'll wait, at the bottom of Black Mountain at 9:30, meet us there, and just started to hang out with people. And that was really the beginning, was kind of doing just these unofficial meetups, not festivals or anything. And then after that, that creative conversation flew back in where it's like, well, it'd be kind of sick to make a telly shirt or a koozie or something. We always have koozies in our back left pocket. So It's like, this helps our lifestyle if we make it. Plus, we've never done this before, so it'd be really fun. And really, it's been just kind of an organic. We can go into all the subtle things with the different avenues, but a lot of it's been this kind of organic growth since the start of just saying, hey, let's meet up at the bottom. Like none of this was planned in terms of we're starting this account so we can do film tours, or we're starting this account so we can make telemark merch explicitly, or to make zines, or to do podcasts. It's really kind of a weird thing where it would just create something else would be spawned, work with that, see if people dug it or not, because it does take a lot of time. So it's tough to put a lot of time into something when no one gives a shit about it. Which could be a joke about Telemark as well. But so that, like I said, we can go in the intricacies of everything else, but that was the starting point of it, was just a very small kind of friend thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm an old guy, so I'm going to say thanks to a new guy stepping in and filling a void, because the organization that I used to run, I couldn't get young people in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of doing this.
Yeah.
Schlepping equipment and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, I'm done, so we, so we unincorporated the organization, and it still exists in the online world, and people can post stuff there, and, they can plan meetups and all that sort of stuff. But you're far more active than I am, and it's good that you're a young person.
It's I feel like I'm breaching that line between young and old at this point, so I can kind of look at both sides and not cast shadows on either direction, depending on people's interpretations. But I mean, it does take a lot of time, and I think over the years, or perhaps decade, that I've been kind of doing this and meeting more people, like Josh and JT Robinson, and talking with Chris Valiente and Dave Bombard and stuff like that, I've been more educated on the ebbs and flows of what's happened in kind of telemark events and stuff like that. And it is really interesting to see that in tele, there's been so many waves of people doing stuff similar to what you were doing and what I was doing. But at some point it kind of drops off, right?
It does.
Which is tough. And I think that part makes it really hard to, I think that's been a problem with telemark and trying to grow it upward, is that our moving average just seems to stay flat with things starting, then stopping, and then you wait for someone else to get motivated and have a lot of time, or just willing to throw their time and money away for something for a little bit until they're like, oh shit, I've lost my time and my money, so now I need to go back. So it's really interesting to see like the history and event coordinators, filmmakers, everything in telemark. And then you have these few festivals that have still been going on for so long.
Right. Yeah, like the last time. Well, it wasn't the last time, was it? No, it wasn't. NATO in Vermont.
Mhm.
Dickie
Yeah,
Hall.
yeah.
Dickie Hall was tired of running it for like 40 years, and so he put the last NATO festival
God.
on, and that's. I was like, oh, Josh is going. I better go. It's like an 8-hour drive for me to get to
Right.
Mad River, but it was awesome. You got to go to those sorts of things, put the effort in, and thank the people who've put all that effort in to hosting things like that and putting out films and all that
Right.
sort of stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's easy to look and think that it's all a party. Like, oh, you just kind of threw these tents up and here we are having beers and skiing. But there's a lot of bullshit that that precedes that point. Once it hits the festival or the film showing, that's when you get to enjoy it, right? But everything leading up to it is the stuff that makes it really hard. That's cool that you went to that. Was it known that that was going to be the final festival
yes.
through NATO? Oh my gosh, I bet that was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was it was really good. It was and that was the first time I'd ever been to one of NATO's, because I used to go to the New England Telemark festivals. They'd have them at Jay and around New England and that sort of stuff. But then they stopped again,
Right.
I don't know what Biff's last name was, but I'm sure he got tired of schlepping everything around all over the place to all the different mountains. And, it's just like this morning I woke up, and you'll know that maybe you should start giving it up when you get up in the morning and there's a pile of rain coming this way. Well, it's raining right now, so I'm not working in the fields harvesting. But my knees are killing me. And this year's the worst year that I felt the weather with my knees. But it doesn't help when I'm climbing equipment and that sort of stuff and harvesting trucks and ladders and all sorts of stuff. I was like, oh, I was beat. Like, I don't sleep in. I was still in bed at 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah. the sign. Yeah. Like growing up, jumping down 10 stairs and off roofs on the concrete and everything, I think I prematurely got myself into that body position. But for a while, it's the joke of like, oh yeah, once I'm 40, I'll be in a wheelchair and you have to push me around. And then, I'm 37 now. So once I've gotten older and I can feel those injuries kind of pop in their head in a little bit, you're like, oh wait, I was not joking. I was talking about something that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
like, my knees started to bother me when I was 40 because I played a lot of sports and I was a carpenter. And I was talking to my doctor about it. So this is 22 years ago. And he goes, well, what do most athletes do when they're 40 years old? I said, I know, they retire. But I'm still going. And then after that point, I had fallen off a friend's roof when I was building a place for him. And I fell 12 feet, landed on my feet, tumbled and rolled. But I know that's probably what really did my knee in. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I bet. There's in Colorado, I've met so many skateboarders that are into their 50s and 60s that are still absolutely shredding. And it's been, two of my, what I would say were my closest friends and are my closest friends when I first moved to Colorado were all 15 years older than me.
Right.
So me coming in when I was 18, they were 33, which is crazy because I looked at that. I'm like, damn, they're old. Now that I'm 37 and I'm hanging out with people like Sal Malone and some of the younger people that are in the films and on the trips, I'm like, oh shit, do they think I'm that old too? But
yeah,
it was cool though to see the people that were older than me that were still going to the parks or skating street spots. And I've seen that a lot with Telemark Skiing. Maddie's father is just such a ripper.
Oh yeah.
Seeing him over at Grand Targhee and stuff like that and seeing these people. But I don't know. I think when my body starts to go away might be when I move back to the coast and find surfing again, because that is so good for your body. The water's generally soft if you're not, surfing coral or something like that, where like I do still foresee in my life once that body aging and the aches and pains start to get really gnarly, maybe my life goes back to the water and hopefully it's fluid enough.
don't go there, because you know what? Like, I had an injury in university basketball, and I don't have an ACL in my right knee, and I don't have medial meniscus on the insides of my knees. It's like bone on bone, and everybody says, "You still ski?" And I was like, "Yeah, I telemark. It's way better." There's like,
yeah,
so yeah, don't give up the horse yet. Yeah. But
I might
however,
just wanna get
water's
back to
not
the water.
that soft, man. If I've wiped out water skiing a few times.
Oh yeah. Well, you're going fast water skiing though. It's that's a totally different speed. I'm talking like 4 foot, maybe chest high, little
Okay.
ripples to go back
Okay.
to at my old age. Water skiing looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I ended up with a concussion one time and spent the night in the hospital after a wipeout.
Oh,
I
jeez.
came up out of the water and I was floating with my face down in the water, and I was always a prankster. And they're like, "Oh, what's Keith doing? He's not moving."
Yeah,
So
he's knocked out.
Yeah, so they jumped in the water, and I guess the ripples woke me up.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so
That's
I'm,
so gnarly.
I'm missing 4 hours out of my life from that incident. So
Oh, jeez.
which
That's
is
so gnarly.
which is not that bad. My wife had a wipeout skiing, and I know she's missing 3 weeks out of her life.
Oh my God, really?
And she had worked 2 of those 3 weeks. Like, from what I do with sports and all that stuff, I know a lot about concussions,
Sure.
and she didn't listen to me. Yeah, and it took her. Sorry, Sean, but I always say this. I call her my brain injured wife.
Sure.
But it took 5 years. She would use up all of her mental energy at work. So when she got home, she had no energy for the family. She
Right.
was just kind of like a shell, but she didn't realize it. You just kind of go in survival mode. But it took her
Yeah.
5 years to get over that. And she still has some remnants, some sort of a feeling. We ride a tandem. And because I'm so large in the front, she can't see by me. And if I make a certain movement on a right-hand turn, she gets the feeling back like she crashed.
Oh, gnarly.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. So anyways, but we'll get back to you.
Sure.
I was making notes here while I was listening to the podcasts. So your tour, and because I'm up here in Canada, the only place I think is going to be in Squamish, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Right.
hosted by
Yep.
North Shore Telemark?
It is. Yep. North Shore Telemark, Roger and crew alongside Valhalla Pure Outfitters. I believe the owner is Murray. He's a big telly head and really awesome guy. I mean, the whole crew up there is really sick.
Yeah, well, when you and Adam were talking about best telly shops, Valhalla came to my mind in Canada.
Yeah, it's where I'm at in Colorado, we don't see, like, we see the Scarpas if a shop's been able to carry them or chooses to carry them, but you don't really see much for Crispy on
Right.
this side of the US.
Yes.
But when we went there last year for the film tour, I kind of made a joke that came out of some honesty. We're looking at what they had at VPO. I was like, oh, this makes it look like Telemark actually has a full industry, because they had a whole rack of Scarpa boots of different kinds, whole rack of Crispy boots of different kinds. I want to say they had Scots too, and a bunch of gear where, like, if you weren't a Telemark skier and you looked, you would see a full rack of gear. We're like, oh, cool. Like, this is another thing people are into versus that shady little corner that you find at
Right.
most of the shops around here. We're like, this is for that one sketchy person that walks in that's like looking for a boot or something
That's
like
right,
that.
yeah.
But no, it's an awesome shop.
So why do you not see a prevalence of crispy boots from your? It's mostly in the East Coast because of the Fay brothers.
So yeah, so my understanding is that the distribution's a little funky, but to be honest, I have no actual knowledge of it.
Okay.
So I just typically haven't seen it. I know that, towards the northeastern side of the US and everything, especially floating around the Fay brothers, because I believe they manage US distribution. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know a lot about that side of things. But it seems to really flourish over there, but I just don't see it over here, whether it's due to distribution or people, who knows. Telemarketers are so opinionated too. They could be a thing where people just decided in this area that they didn't like what that bellow bubble looked like, and then they just bailed.
I know. I was on crispy boots for a little while, and I broke 2 pairs in 20 days.
Oh, no kidding.
So I have a friend who's a tool and die maker, and we were talking about it, and he does a lot of R&D stuff, and he's like, that's got to be a material science problem, because they make big. I'm 6'6", 280 pounds, and he says, for them to fail in the same place, that's definitely got to be. So I had been on Scarpas, so I went back to Scarpa just because I broke them at the bellows.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it starts to have similar kind of fracture points or something like that, that's more of a a mechanism that's starting to pick its head out, or
Yeah.
pop its head out. That's you're obviously aggravating a weakness for whatever reason that weakness exists, which is pretty wild.
And you know what? This brings me to another question, because when I was listening to episode 1 of the Pretty Good Telemark Show season 2, you're like on the gear. It sounds like you're right in there with all the company, like a sales rep.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got this here. We got, because you know what? You were making a good case for me to buy that 30.5 Pro. No.
Okay.
Comp.
The new comp. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you said there's one pair of 30.5, and I'm the Sasquatch guy.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But I happen to have 2 pairs of the old comps, and one is still brand new.
Yeah.
You
it's
know?
yeah, I know a lot of people started to backlog those to keep them, out of fear of what the new.
Well, I had bought it because I didn't know if there was anything coming down the line. So this was.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
An acquaintance who lived in Evergreen, I think it is, in Colorado.
Yeah.
I think he was skiing at A Basin, and he put a thing up, and there were a pair of them for like $299 at the ski shop at the. I was like, he says, "Does anybody need these?" I said, "Buy them for me. We'll figure it out." So we figured out how to do things. I sent him the money. I gave him an extra bunch of money so he could go buy some beer, and he shipped them up here. And it was like, yeah, I got 2, because I break a lot of shit. And so I always travel with at least 2 pairs of skis and 2 pairs of boots.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to be prepared. So if you break it, you can still ski, right? Your day's not over.
So you might be in the in. If Scarpa needs some Sasquatch to do some destructive testing, I'm the guy.
Do the pain testing on the boots and everything.
Yeah.
Because it's always interesting to see when it goes from kind of beta testing, where it's athletes and reps and whatever figures they seem to connect themselves to all of a sudden everybody has them, because there's nothing like giving it to a whole population of people that have a different turn, different weight, different style. And that stuff aggravates the boot in so many different ways that, one athlete can't really do. An athlete is usually pretty dialed. So likely they're not stressing that boot in such a weird way where it's not intended to be, you know? So yeah, it's cool to see once it gets released and the other reactions people have.
Yeah. Well, my size can really test things, because I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about skis. He goes, "You can make anything work. Like, just, like my size."
Yeah.
Like you guys are talking about the Bishop skis. Well, I'm on. I was afraid Josh, and I know he's not going to make skis probably again, but I'm sure that my switchblades are getting tired. So I went, and I used to ski vocals all the time. So they changed up the Mantra ski, and they call it the M7, and so I got it in a 190 length, and so I was like, you know what, I better get those out. And my friends are all like, "Have you tried your new skis?" I was like, "No, they're my backup skis." They're like, "Those are your backup skis?" And I said, "Yeah." So I tried them, and my wife noticed the day I was skiing. She goes, "Man, you're putting those skis through a workout." I said, well, I got to see how they work in any conditions. And you know what? Josh's skis travel with me, but they're not my daily rippers anymore. The vocals are my daily rippers. Yeah. So
yeah. You go through phases, and skis wear down and everything. So there is a process where
I don't want the switchblades to break.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You want to keep those things and not run it fully into the ground, just close enough where you have fond memories, but you still get to look at it in your older age. Right.
Yes. Yeah. So, I was, I don't know how we got on this conversation of this. Breaking gear and shit like that. Yeah. It's just,
right.
Yeah. I could be a good beta tester, because I have a custom built touring bike that's not supposed to break, and I broke it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So thankfully the company, they're like, "Oh yeah, just box it up, send it back here. We'll fix it, and we'll repaint it and send it back to you." And it's like, oh, right on.
Nice.
Yeah. So you gotta love companies like that. So shout out to Commotion Bicycles in Eugene, Oregon.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Gotta like companies like that. Small companies, just like the telemark industry.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, well, I mean, those are the ones that recognize how important the company consumer or customer relationship is, right? Where
Yes.
they care about that person, not only because they are a customer that's providing them money, but they are trying to, I think with any smaller project, it's usually born from a passion.
Yep.
And that passion carries you into caring about those people that are starting to be influenced by your passion or want to be a part of what you're starting to introduce, right?
Yes.
Versus, as cliche as it is, and I don't think it's true for everybody, but a bigger company that is starting to step into more, we're making money. If this one person leaves because they had a bad experience, we've got 5 more people
Right.
walking into REI to buy our product or whatever.
Yes.
So what do we care? Which
Yeah.
is really cool about, so supporting the smaller businesses is like, one, you're helping out someone that's putting everything on the line to try to create something, but
Yeah.
two, you're supporting them kind of through a passion, and they're going to support you back with whatever issues you have, which is really awesome. And that's what you see with like 22 and Bishop and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
always love talking to people that I don't know that um or don't like know super well, to the extent that they're homies with people at 22 or something, where you could say like, oh, you're getting the homie connection,
Yes.
and they say like, look, I emailed some general info at email for 22 or Bishop or whatever, and they were nice enough to give me a replacement this or a replacement that, or they were so helpful. It gets me stoked to hear people having good experiences like that.
Well, when I was in the market for new skis, I really wanted, my friends was like, you should look at Bishop. You should look at Bishop. And I was like, yeah, I look at Bishop. And then for me to get it up here, it's twice the price. So I'm looking at a $2,000 pair of skis.
Oh my God.
Is
it really? Oh, geez.
Yeah. Cause our exchange is $140.
Right. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's
really tough.
So instead, so I got $1,000 pair of skis instead of a $2,000 pair of skis, unfortunately. But like I always try, the ski shop where Adam works around here, the people who did sell Telemark have stopped, and so people hit me up. Where can I get this? Where can I get this? I said, man, if you're in the Toronto and GTA area, go to Ellicottville, New York, and hit up the City Garage. They're awesome, and especially now that Trey has taken over the shop, it's I send people there all the time.
Nice.
Yeah. So you have to show all the people, the small businesses love, so that it can continue.
Oh, 100%.
And
they're usually rad. It's a lot easier to have a beer in a smaller, smaller shop or something that than an REI.
That's right.
I don't think I've been able to walk into an REI and crack open a beer and be like, all right, this is cool to chill for a while, right?
That's right. I remember going to visit Josh for a week and ski there, and I was staying upstairs and go and ski, and I was like, I went in to buy some beer. It's like pretty low alcohol. Where do you get the high octane stuff? So I went and got some higher octane stuff, and I walked in. I was like, I didn't have a cooler, so I had a bucket with snow and beer in there, And after hours, we just all sat around, drank beer, and I think we were watching some, I don't know, MMA fighting or something like that.
Sure. Yeah. Something random.
Yeah.
Totally Telly right there. Yeah.
So some other questions that I have.
Sure. Yeah.
So how'd you get into the Kings and the Queens? Like what got you kind of collecting? Because obviously the organic stuff, it's like, oh, you go from T-shirts and koozies and whatever like that.
Right.
And then you make some kind of films of yourselves, I guess.
Yeah. So Kings and Queens of the Heel, I guess for people that don't know what it is. So Kings and Queens of the Heel is a community telemark film competition that we put together every year. We always drop a booklet January 1st that's full of a bunch of different challenges that ranges from, really easy accessible things so that you don't have to be a pro or even, a 10-year telemark skier or something, like tell you a green run, hit a blue tree run or something like that, to park tricks like doing swaps and stuff like that, or deli presses on certain features, to totally unrelated in terms of physically skiing. I think this is all very much part of the culture, but like eat 6 breakfast burritos on the way to the mountain when you're going skiing one morning or something. So it's all these different challenges that are worth points, and everyone gets 3 to 4 months to try to complete those challenges. They don't have to complete all of them, just the ones they think are fun or challenging or whatever. They get those points and they put together an edit, and then we offer up prizes for 2 winners. One of them's the King and Queen of the Heel for that year, which is the most points out of their segment. And then there's the We Care Award, which is the community vote for favorite segment.
Oh, so cool.
Kind of 2 different ways to do it. But I actually started that also with Brian when we were kind of working together on TC. Again, coming back from skateboarding, where Thrasher does something called King of the Road, where they
Okay.
get, yep, so they get 3 to 4 to 5. It kind of varies across the years they've done it. Pro teams, and they get a booklet with manual challenges, stair challenges, skate park challenges, BS challenges like make out with a mom at a skate park or something like that. And they essentially travel for like a week or so, and they film it, and then they make something out of it. Then Thrasher does a big award ceremony for it, and then the winning team gets the cover of Thrasher for that month.
Okay.
Which is a really cool thing, but it was always limited to pro teams.
Right.
So you get to see how fun it is, but you don't get to participate in a way that you're physically doing it, right? Like you participate by enjoying it, but you don't participate by opening that book yourself and looking with your friends to see what you want to do.
Right.
So back when I was living in Florida, there's a website called Skate Perception where we actually would work on making an amateur version of King of the Road, so that whatever, we would drop the booklet with all these challenges, and amateur whatever, is anyone on the forum could get their team together. They would have a month, go film it, and do the same thing. So now you could participate. So once we started to do kind of some more like in-person events, like showing Ty Dayberry's films, Ty and Bevan's films at the time, and stuff like that, and started to see kind of more people participating, and I was getting exposed more to kind of the younger people and everything else, I just thought it would be cool to try to bring that concept of a competition into Telemark.
Right.
And honestly, that was doing something where it's like, this all makes sense to me because I grew up with it.
Right.
But I don't know if anybody's going to understand what the hell we're trying to do with this. And that was 2020 that we dropped that. I think it was January 1st, 2020 that we dropped that first booklet. And
good timing.
Yeah. Well, what's really funny is it was because apparently, the other weird thing with Kings and Queens is that I drop the booklet, and usually you get a bunch of people kind of tagging us and stuff for the first week or two, and then it goes silent. So for that time on, I have no idea if people are doing anything where I'm like, is this still a competition or what? Obviously, COVID happened. We get the shutdown. For us in Colorado, we couldn't ride resorts somewhere between like middle to late March, I want to say. I can't remember exactly when. But I was talking with Josh at the time, and I'm talking to him too, saying like, all right, it's hitting April 1st. This is the due date. I have no idea if we're going to get anything. And sure enough, we got one submission right out the gate, and it was from Greg Yearsley and his whole crew, Hamdog 2069. And I remember seeing that. I'm like, they get it. Like they had the points up on the board and all the trick things, like it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like they did the sort of edit that I've seen in our Skate Perception type of King of the Road before.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, no way, someone gets it. And I remember talking to Josh, like, we got one entry already. It's awesome. Like if we get nothing else, I'm fine with it because this will be so fun to show. And then we got another one, and more came in. I think we ended up with like 7 entries that year.
Right on.
And I'm kind of rambling to it, but you saying it's in terms of like great timing, sarcastically, it is tough that COVID hit.
Yes.
But because of COVID, everyone was locked inside.
Yeah.
So when we did kind of our virtual showing of it, tons of people were on it because no one had anything else to do. So it was kind of a weird, it's making something good out of something bad, right?
Yep.
And something bad was obviously everything that was going on with COVID. Something good was that people got to hang out in kind of the Facebook chat room and talk shit to each other, say, hey, this is cool. All of that interaction on there. I remember seeing that and I was giddy because it's like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like everyone's interacting, everyone's stoked. It was kind of like your operate hang again for everybody that's missing the ski season or wasn't going out. So that part was really cool to get everyone together.
Yeah.
We ended up having just violent amount of technical difficulties on that first showing. That was really bad, and haunts me to this day. But so that was the start of it, was just again trying to introduce something that I grew up with through skateboarding into Telly and just kind of see how it does. And thankfully, like a lot of our team now, I've kind of found through Kings and Queens through their submissions.
Right.
And, beyond just the fun of it, which that whole project is intended to be fun. I don't make any money off of it. The whole idea is, all those sponsors are all product sponsors where it's like, I just want to give back to the people that participated because I know how much effort goes into filming and editing and everything like that. But I honestly lost my thought on there. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea was to create something that was just really fun for people and to see the different personalities and skiing styles that have come out of it have been really cool, because I think it's given people a reason to go film, which then creates more content in the telemark space, which is then stuff that telemarketers can enjoy, and then stuff that people outside of telemark can look into, and they can see it and be like, oh, I did not know this was a thing or a style, or there's 11-year-olds that are ripping in it, so I think that's another plus to it. And every year people still seem to enter it. I still go through the panic attack of putting together a book like the week before and everything. And keeps on going.
No, I remember that first airing of that. And
I wish I did.
I thought it was awesome. And you know what? I didn't give it a shit that there were technical difficulties, because
oh my God.
No, it was great.
Oh. Facebook really did us dirty where it just played like 10 minutes of it and then looped back.
Right.
And then it would play it. And then I had a backup one that was set up in case something happened. Like, I always assume technology is going to fail us.
Yes.
And finally we got that one working. I'm like, all right, I'm going to delete the backup one so people don't go to that one. And then I delete it, and all of a sudden the one that was running stops, and I realized that I deleted the wrong one. So then it was, that was a bummer.
I know, that's my wife had my computer. We had it disconnected from everything, and I was down here, and I was like, how come the big monitor is not running? And it's like, and you know what? I hate technology. I know it's great for stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not screwing around because I got a podcast. So it's like, I'm just using the monitor on my laptop.
Right.
I like the big screen so much better. So,
it's
like, you don't want to screw things up, because I, as a teacher, and I've been using the internet since 1994.
Right.
The World Wide Web, as it was called.
That nice dial-up sound was what you heard.
And it was all HTML.
Okay,
And then I would run some websites, and everything had to be written in code. I was like, oh man, and you have to remember all of it. It was nuts. But
so nice.
I had report cards done. I shared my classroom with a woman who taught them English, and it was on a floppy disk. And I said, you know what you're doing, right? And I had reports for like my math class, my science class, all my shop, and all my phys ed. When she gave it back to me on Monday morning and I loaded it on, it's like, my stuff's all gone.
Yeah.
Like, so after that, I learned back up.
Yep. It's unfortunate. Well, we get smarter because we did something dumber beforehand, and I think we all go through those experiences. Like when I first started making films for TC, for some reason or another, right around this time, Apple starts to update their operating software. At the time, Adobe's updating their creative suite. I'm like, all right, sick, I'll update it. Just wipe everything out. I can't remember. It might have been Maybe Not or Why Not. It was like one of the first ones. But it wiped out all of my color correcting, which is not a fun thing to do. And I'm still really bad at it, but I was really, really bad at it then, which means it takes even longer to do it, right? It's like, oh God, I have to figure this out. So I've learned from that experience, I don't update anything while I'm in kind of the editing to export it timeline. Like, even if it says, oh, this new version of DaVinci has this, I'm like, damn, that would be cool. Don't do it. Yep. So, lesson learned from being dumb and changing software and everything, where you should know better, where you're like, people are futzing with shit, which means something's probably not going to work, which is why you always get the 24 point number.
Yes. Yeah. I happen to be married to a woman whose maiden name is Murphy. Murphy's Law. Affects, you marry into it, and it's like, because I'll you know what, if I'm using the computer a lot, it'll get updated, and sure enough, in the middle of a podcast interview, it's updating and it's freezing and it's like, so I'm on the computer the day before, turning it on, putting it back on, turning it off several times. Is there an update? Yeah, there's an update. Okay, because even just before now, something said, "Oh, you want to update?" I was like, "Hell no," you know.
Yeah, it's for how much anxiety it gives me. It blows my mind that I tend to stick in a world where I'm relying on technology working all the time, and sometimes it's little where you're the only one that's bothered by it. But for me, like last year, we were doing a premiere in Salt Lake City, a venue that we've done it before in the past and has worked fine. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I realize that the audio isn't synced up.
Oh,
And
right.
whatever their system is, there's like a microsecond lag, which some people don't notice. You really notice it if there's a talking head narrative, right? Because then you can see that it's not synced up with the lips. But then also for me, I've sat there for months editing this where when they land here, that's going to land on the beat. And that wasn't happening. And like, I wanted to crawl inside my skin during that showing. People still seem to enjoy it, but I'm just like, oh, like you can't stop it in the middle of the movie and then say like, all right, we're going to try to figure this out.
Yes.
So at the end of that, I end up, we end up offering it for free anyways, but just saying like, look, when we start to sell this whole mill, I've got all of your emails. I've got everything. I will give it to you for free. I'm so sorry it was off. Cause like, I want the film experience to be awesome for everybody, you know, and going to that, especially if it's a ticketed one, that's such a bummer. But oh my God, that was tough. That was so embarrassing. I hate the AV
that's like in the teacher business, you always pre-watch videos that you're going to show to your class.
Right. Yeah.
and one day I was teaching poetry, and I found this professor who was being filmed. He was getting an award from his school, and he talked about his first poem. and he talked about, it was about his good friend and his brother. And his brother would have been on the autism spectrum back then, but he didn't know because his professor was a little older than me. And he talks about the story how the older brother was kind of like the dad. He's like, hey, Johnny, when you come out of the bathroom, pull your zipper up, you know, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he was trying to explain that, you know, there was something wrong with Johnny. He was fucked up, but we didn't know and we didn't care. And I always remembered, oh, yeah, he's going to say he's fucked up. So I'd mute it. One day I forgot to mute it.
Oh, my God.
So I stopped it, and I was like, okay. And these guys are 14 years old, right? I was like, yeah, I screwed up. I did the first year teacher mistake. Go home. Tell your parents. We'll have fun with this. After this, I'm going to go tell the principal that I screwed up. And I had this kid. I had this kid named Trent, and I would always give kids nicknames. So his nickname was Trench. And he goes, it's okay, Mr. Woods. Your class is like Las Vegas. What happens in Woodsy's class stays in Woodsy's class.
No shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, right on, man. I said, but go home and tell your parents. Yeah.
Shout out Trent. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's okay. So we go from the kings and queens where you're assembling video submissions.
Yep.
And then after that, then you move into filmmaking.
Yeah. I want to say they were kind of starting right together. I might be wrong. The films might have been like right after it. But the origin of it is one of our first real events that was outside the unofficial meetups was in 2018. Again, you know, we have the Instagram account started, and it's the fall of 2018. And I go on to Instagram one day, and I see a trailer that pops up that I think was on 22 Designs or so. And it's starring Ty Dayberry and Bevan Waite and a bunch of other people. And it is the trailer for, oh my God, I can't believe, Telemark Tale.
Yes.
A Telemark Tale. And I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, this looks awesome. Like, this looks well done. There's big tricks in it. Everything looks really nice. Like, I was so jazzed. I didn't know who Bevan was. I don't think I totally knew who Ty was. Maybe I've seen him kind of in the peripheral watching older, you know, lip sync films, yada, yada. And just sent them a message and said, hey, like, just saw that you're doing a trailer. Are you guys trying to tour it or what? I would love to do a premiere here in Colorado
Right.
and do a film showing. Honestly, if anything else, kind of from a selfish perspective, where I wanted to go to a Telemark film premiere.
Right.
So I messaged them, talked to them on the phone. They were both super awesome. They were down to do it. I told them, like, look, I'll figure out spots to do it in Denver. You know, I don't mind walking into a brewery, having a beer, and talking to somebody about trying to set something up. And got that together. And, you know, through the limited amount of people that followed our account, I think I might have popped it into Facebook or something too. It's just like, look, this film's happening. We're going to do a Denver showing of it. And I kind of threw it into the shadows, not knowing who was going to catch it, you know, like, again, just like Kings and Queens, you start this, but you've never done it before personally. So you don't have any idea who's going to show up for it. But we hosted it. We flew Ty and Bevan in to make it even a bigger deal for everybody, where they could do like a Q&A with them and stuff like that.
Cool.
Brian and I pulled our money together to get them flights to be able to come, just because, like, I wanted it to be what all of the alpine skiers get.
Right. Yeah. Like the Warren Miller film, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Or Level 1 or something, where the athletes are there and they can be stoked on that, or they just get to meet up with people they haven't seen since last season, all that stuff. So that's kind of how the movie aspect started.
Okay.
With TC was hosting that. Following year, Bevan and Ty did Our Family. We hosted that one. Following year was COVID.
Yep.
Nothing happened there. And kind of after that, you know, I had seen the people that showed up, and to me, it was such a fun night to hang out with people, and to see the shows or the films and everything like that, that it motivated me. Like, I want to make something. And to me, again, like, broken record, but growing up as a skateboarder and stuff, park made the most sense to me on what to film, like that style of filming, that style of editing, that crew. I was starting to get along, you know, starting to know a little bit better and everything.
Right.
Which actually, now that does tell me that Kings and Queens was before, because that's how I knew of Greg Yearsley, who was invited to the first Why Not film showing or film meetup, and did that with Future of Free Heel 2 from Ty. And then there was another film. My God, I cannot remember. Oh, and King of the Lurk from Marshall Thompson. So they had all had like smaller things, and it's like, oh, cool, we can do a film premiere again. I was talking with Chris and Dave, and then we had this little thought, and Josh, of like, what if we kind of toured it to a couple of spots? So we did one in Denver, 2 in Salt Lake, an all ages one, and then the over 21 one because of fun Salt Lake rules.
Right.
Did one over in Driggs, Idaho, where 22 Designs is at, and a couple others that I can't remember. And that was fun. It was like, whoa, this is cool. We toured films. This happened. Following year, no one was making short films. I was lucky enough to be a part of a couple of projects. One out in Silverton for Bishop. Did another park skiing project, which has now been a yearly thing, where we invite all the OGs that have been a part of it, and then usually new people that I've either seen through Instagram or Kings and Queens. Like, we invited Josie this year because I was seeing her on the UVM post. She rips. It was so awesome. Like, I was so stoked. Like, and that's kind of the point, to bring in people.
I love the energy she had, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. And that showed during the filming too, and just the hanging out. And, but I, you know, with that, I want it to be something where if you're a younger telemark skier and you're looking at these things, you could see maybe some opportunity to be a part of something bigger than just being a telemark skier on the hill. You know, some people that isn't bigger, but for others that is the opportunity of like, oh, I could go and be on this trip with these people, or I could go film, or I could be in a movie, you know, like, that's, to me, that's sick. So that kind of motivation carried me through. I did 3 short films that year, toured it. And then kind of the next big step for myself and TC was I had always wanted to do a full-length film.
Yes.
Very kind of skate oriented, where it's just segments. We're not trying to tell like a big emotional story or anything like that. It's just showing the personalities of all these people I've been so lucky to meet over time.
Yes.
And this is Telemark. And it's kind of just, I think since then it's just like I'm stuck in all of the landsliding happening. I'm just keep making films at this point, and it's always a lot of stress and figuring out what it's going to be, who's going to be in it. timing, because none of us are like these pro skiers where they get to go out to a zone,
right?
And you see all that B-roll where it's like, oh, it's a bad weather window, so we're gonna sit and we're gonna play games or do art or do all these cool B-roll things. Like, we don't get a 2-week window to sit and wait for 2 days of Bluebird.
Yes. Yeah.
We get that weekend because everyone's working, or some people have kids, or they're in school. Like, we thread the needle and just make it work, which is why, like, in our films, it's not always Bluebird. Like, we have park segments where it's gray, which is not ideal when everything's flat, especially when you're flipping, but we get what we get, right?
And that reminds me of Meathead Films in the East with Ski the East.
Okay.
They'll we're gonna go to Quebec City.
Yeah.
But you know what? The weather's conditions, so you know what? They're like skateboarders. They build stuff. Their park scenes are, railings coming down a school, whatever.
Right.
And you have to make with what you have available on shitty days.
Yeah, especially with this, but so it brings the stress and anxiety and everything, but somehow every year it's come together.
Yeah.
We make it happen. I'm lucky enough that there's enough people that are stoked to be a part of the projects and want to help me out with that and have some leniency on their schedule and everything too. So, so here we are again, something that felt like it'd be fun to do that just kind of steamrolled into doing full-length films every year.
Thank you
yeah,
for enduring all of the stress and anxiety, because you know what,
Sure.
like, I would run tournaments here for sports. As I got older, I was like, I don't want to coach anymore, but I'll run tournaments because people don't want to run tournaments, and they think it's really stressful. Once you figure it out, and then you show up on the day, I just kind of sat around and enjoyed the day and let things happen, and because all the shite happened in all the planning there, However, I had a controlled environment. I didn't have to deal with Mother Nature.
Right. Yeah. And that it's kind of funny you say that, because that's a way I feel a lot of the time too, is that, for me doing this, the point isn't for it to be anything that CJ Coccia is involved with. I honestly don't care if people even recognize me. I don't care if people recognize what TC is or anything like that. Really, the idea was to create something. I guess you need to know TC to be able to find how to get a ticket or whatever. So,
right.
But you know what I mean? But the whole idea is to create something that people get to be a part of, whether as an observant or being in the films or being a younger kid that's training up because they want to be in it and look up to something or look up to riding for a team.
Yeah.
All these things that you get in other sports, I want that to exist here. And I know it has in the past, but like we were saying in the beginning, we get these roles where it's all happening and it's awesome. There's these teams and there's these figures, and then there's kind of a lot less of that again. And, a big hope for me, especially looking at that and how much energy, it takes and money that it takes, is that somebody else will show up to a film premiere or something like that of mine or whatever, and they're like, man, this shit's really whack.
Yeah.
Don't dig it. And they get motivated to create something of theirs.
Yeah.
Or like they don't like our crew or our vibe or something like that, and they create something new. They make a film that people dig and they start touring it. Cause like, it would be so fun to just show up to somebody else's Telemark film showing, to me. And that's what I've been pushing with like the Telemark Film Festival thing. And, this year, I mean, really every year I've given an opportunity for people to create their own film.
Right.
And show it before whatever the main film is. Just, if it's a little local homie thing where people's all stoked, is like, oh,
sure,
our buddies showing this. Yeah. This is awesome. You know, like,
I
want other people to be motivated. Yeah.
It was like I was interviewing Nick Grissett from Lower Peninsula Pinheads. And I always ask people, I'm not going to ask you where it's taking you, because we know where it's taking you. And Nick was like, on the podcast. I was like, what?
Nick's so rad.
I know. And you're doing a premiere with him, right? At Cabernet, I think.
Yeah, we're trying to. So he's always shown our film at their, I forget what that event is that they call it. I know it is at Cabernet. But either way, I don't
know if it's it's probably the reunion, or maybe Yeah.
Yeah, you might. I think you're right on that. Or at least that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah,
I'll
it's in
take it.
January. It's in January. I know that. If you don't know, just like I did to the Pretty Good Telemark Show, go back to the Skippy Report, a couple of episodes, and you'll see Nick's interview, or not see it. You'll listen to it, and we have the dates there. I'm not into.
Yeah.
My wife says you should do YouTube stuff, and I was like, do you know how much shit time and I got other things to do.
Yeah. Why add to stuff?
Yeah.
I just like kind of a little side thing. I think with this, it's so easy to want to keep adding on more. And that's a great way to all of a sudden not enjoy what you're doing. Like, I think it's really cool how you've, when I've listened early on to your podcast, how it seemed like you were just kind of traveling, brought your stuff with you, and would just talk to whoever you were hanging out with, whether it was like a cidery person or like a maple syrup person or like a telemark skier or whatever. I think that's cool. And it seemed like from the outside looking in, that seems like you're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So why add more shit on to change something that you're enjoying?
Yeah.
I think we all have a habit of adding more on to things that we might necessarily not want, which is oddly kind of the theme of this year's film. But yeah, I mean, Nick's such a rad person.
Oh yeah.
YouTube's kind of whatever. But yeah, so he's always showed the film over there. Like I love Nick and his whole crew, and I again know Nick because of Kings and Queens of the Heel when they were doing the Midwest Telly Dads, and then they started doing the Lower Peninsula Pinhead submissions. So that'll be another showing people can catch.
Yeah.
Or just go ski with Nick. He's rad.
Exactly.
And a good skier too.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I'm glad that I went up to the Midwest Telemark Festival a couple years ago and went up there last year. And my wife and I had a rad time doing this circle ski tour of Lake Superior, which is a camping thing, but we're doing it when it's minus 30 out.
Oh, jeez.
Which is awesome because we had resorts to ourselves.
Yeah. That's everyone up there. That's a whole nother level of just showing your passion to stick in just some gnarly conditions. Because here in Colorado, like our version of bad, I think is pretty damn chill to all of you, especially like out in New England and everything.
Well, it's like, the
another breed.
The different definition of skiing the trees.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
We don't have to go there. So most people know what that is.
Yeah. A couple of my friends grew up in New England. Their spot really incredible telemark skiers. Their parents are incredible telemark skiers. It's just in their blood for whatever reason. But they grew up, and maybe this is the answer right here. They grew up skiing J Peak.
Yep.
And they would always tell me like, oh yeah, there's this one chair where it's super windy and it gets to like -50 and the trees are super tight and blah, blah, blah.
That's
like,
called
you would hate it. We need to get you over there. I'm like, nothing you said makes me want to go over there aside from hanging out. Like I know where my talent lies, and it's not in -60-degree weather and just aggressively tight trees. Like,
that chair.
I would love to see it though.
That we see J Peak, and we do ski it, and we see J Peak from my cottage, and it's got like,
oh cool,
yeah, it has 3 peaks, and the one chair, the tram goes all the way up to the top and crosses his crotch, but the flyer chair goes across. And when my children were young, my wife and I would sit on the west part of the chair with a daughter next to me, then my wife, then another daughter. And as we got up above the tree line, the adults would lean forward and the kids would tuck their heads and faces in behind us to get out of the wind.
Oh my God.
And I think they take the chairs off because there's a shed underneath with a rail at the bottom. So on really windy days, they don't want stuff to derail. Because you can see, I don't know how far it is, you'd be able to see Whiteface because you see Lake Champlain easily. And I would say Whiteface is 80 miles away. 70 miles away. Yeah. So there's a mean wind that comes off that Champlain Valley in New York and Vermont.
Oh, that's so gnarly.
That's how we ski. And, the other thing I thought was really weird in the Midwest, I could understand in Thunder Bay because Thunder Bay and Duluth are kind of in the same longitude.
Okay.
And Thunder Bay is in the Eastern time zone. Duluth is in the Western time zone. And they open their ski resorts at 10 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 6 a.m., which is 5 a.m. Eastern. I'm sitting around waiting 5 hours for the freaking ski resort to open. I was like, what is with this? Like, in Thunder Bay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's dark because they're only a half hour away from, in Canada, the central time zone.
Okay.
Yeah, I found that bizarre. Like even Wisconsin and Michigan, some of their resorts, they open at 10 a.m. and they're like an hour and a half drive east. I was like, ugh. And
I mean, is that a safety thing? Is that they're trying to not get people out when it's as dark and cold, or?
Well, it's in the Midwest in the U.S., it's not that dark at that time at 9 o'clock in the morning, because we're coming off, what is it, daylight savings time, going to East Standard Time now?
Your guess is better than me.
Yeah, because the kids at school up in Thunder Bay, when they get off the bus at 8:30 in the morning, this time of the year, it's midnight dark outside.
Yeah.
So then they do the time change and it's a little better. Like we should be staying, there are some American politicians who think that we should always stay on daylight savings time. It's like, hell no.
No. Yeah, and then you have Arizona that doesn't do the swap. So your time relationship to Arizona varies based on what part of daylight savings or whatever the hell.
Well, we have that Saskatchewan in Canada. Well,
really?
the weird one was when I went to Kentucky and Tennessee. I was in Louisville. I drove 2 hours straight south into a different time zone. I was like,
yeah,
this is bizarre. I understand why.
You guys know how the earth rotates, right?
Yeah. But you know what? Nashville wanted to be part of the West for transportation. I guess it was a big transportation hub back in the day with rail.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I just this morning I saw just a quick little news blurb that said October 29th is the last time that we're going to get a 6 p.m. sunset, which means it's about to just keep getting darker and darker. And that hit me. We're like, oh shit, we're hitting that. Cause here, like around 4:30, it gets so dark, which is a bummer, but that also means it's ski season.
That's right.
So you're stoked on it, right?
That's
right. It's a little tough because it is a bummer. To, like if you're working and you go in and it's dark and you leave and it's like 4:30, like, all right, time to have my day, or it's 5 or whatever, and it's pitch black. You're like, I missed all of the sunlight.
That's right.
Like, it's kind of a bummer.
In Northern Ontario, it's like that. If you don't get out, like as a kid for lunchtime, you may not see the sun during the school day.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's tough on the psyche right there.
Oh, it is. It is. So let's get back to your film. So we were just talking about the natural progression, and the natural progression from that is the Pretty Good Telemark Show.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I told, I don't know if Adam ever shared this with you, because he and I'll talk on the side sometimes. And when you guys first started, I said, I love it. I said, it's like Howard Stern's show. Adam is Howard, crotchety old guy. And I think Howard's sidekick is Robin.
Okay.
You're Robin. You're the positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that back and forth between you guys. It's awesome. And here I am looking at it. We're an hour and 17 minutes into this, and I was like, I tried to keep it to an hour, but it's just it's organic.
It's
and
chill. Yeah.
You guys go long, and I was like, how the hell do you talk about ski boots for like 90 minutes? But I get it now. Right? Today I get it.
I'm more impressed that people can listen to us talk about ski boots for 90 minutes. Well, or maybe they don't. I don't know.
So what?
Yeah.
When I'm out working in the fields harvesting, when we're planting, I'm out there. I'll be in a 200-acre field. I drive 80 kilometers in a 200-acre field.
Okay.
So that's 50 miles, and you can see the whole field. So what do? You listen to the podcast.
Right.
Otherwise, you're falling asleep.
It gives you plenty of opportunity to zone in and out, because odds are we're still talking about the same shit when you zone back in. So
it's like watching a NASCAR race.
Yeah, for real. That was something, obviously. So Adam had me on the Pursuit 2 or 3 times, I believe, which was always fun. Like I was always nervous being the person interviewed, especially to him, because I would hear him interview certain people and ask them like weird questions and shit like that, where it's like, oh, do I need to sound witty or whatever? But we had met through doing that. I'd actually met him at a World Tele Day event that we did also right before COVID hit.
That's right.
He actually drove down and came and visited. Since then,
didn't he show up without equipment?
Yeah, I think both times he showed up without equipment. Well, nope, I'm wrong. The first time he showed up with a pair of the line Sakanas, which is what is a ski I also have, and so he ended up borrowing that setup the next time he came. So he did bring a setup the first time, but started to meet him more through that, and then he sent me either a text or a random DM saying, "Hey, like, do you want to do a Telemark podcast on the Out of Collective?" And admittedly, I didn't because there's one thing being the person interviewed where kind of like if the podcast sucks, you can blame the podcast host because they are the ringleader for all of it. They're the one that's supposed to be interesting and get the interesting stuff out of the person being interviewed.
That's right.
So I can sit here and even if I suck, I can be like, oh well, such and such didn't ask right questions or engage the right way. But as a person that's a co-host, who Adam says he could kick me off at any second,
because he doesn't give you can't put banners up, from what I understand.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm not senior enough over at the Out of Collective for that sort of capability. But it seemed like something I should do, and I should not do it because I was nervous or anxious about it. So we gave it a try last season, and it's kind of like what you're saying where I was super nervous about it, and he's like, all right, well, we're going to record now. I'm like, okay. And then we just kind of start talking about things. Thankfully last year, with the new boot, new bindings and everything, like there was at least some stuff that was new and unique to talk about versus trying to figure out digging up old topics or saying the old same thing, which I think we hit on a lot. But yeah, I mean, somehow we get on and we're like, so what should we talk about? Literally we get on and 10 minutes before, like, well, we could talk about this. I'm like, all right, maybe that sounds good. You can bring it up. Okay. Like, I was thinking of this, like, okay, sure. Like it's so loose going into it every time. Like, I don't know how this is going to go, but we always end up yapping about the whole thing. And thankfully people seem to have provided positive feedback over it. Again, it's just like what we were talking about in the opening. Like, you rarely get honest negative feedback directly because people don't want to do that.
Yes.
But you get a lot of positive feedback.
Yes.
Which is cool, and people seem to dig it, and it ends up being fun. Podcasts always kind of like feel stressful to me, but then once it happens, it's like, oh, we're just hanging out and chatting. It's cool to like bring in new people. I'm stoked that people are listening to it and enjoying kind of the banter. And I do think that it's been positive to have Mr. Curmudgeon MrAdamX kind of hating on everything.
And I listened to him and I kind of think as a teacher, oh, I would have hated to have him in my class. He would have got beat up. Like,
I'm sure he would be a problem child. And like, I generally honestly don't agree with a lot of that bait shit that he throws in there, which I think he knows what he's doing with that. Like he just, for the first episode this year, he asked for people to send in just little videos of them skiing.
And I was going to say, don't have him as a judge for Kings and Queens of the Hill.
Yeah, I know better than that.
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, so we were supposed to talk about criticize the skiing and stuff like that. And that is such a world that makes me uncomfortable. It'd be different if like there was something constructive, but to me it's like, oh, it's this person that submitted this clip because they're having a blast and wanted it to be a part of the show. Meanwhile, Adam's like, well, he did a fucking alpine turn to start, drag a little bit over here, and this looks kind of dumb, and like I would have done it faster, and blah blah blah. I'm just like, oh my god. So I think the yin and yang probably helps. I think if
100%.
An individual just podcast of him in Telemark, obviously he has his own podcast, but just him like shitting on Telly for an hour. Some people would dig it, some people would hate it. If it was me talking, I think most people would hate it. So like, it's good that both of us are together, I guess, on that. And he keeps dragging me into it. So.
Well, thanks for going there, because what? There's at least 2 Telemark podcasts.
I know. Which I do want to give a big rest in peace to those telly guys. I don't know if you ever listened to them.
Yes.
It was the crew out of Australia, which
Yeah.
was so fun. One, because it was our off season. It was cool to hear their stuff that they're doing over there. But like those guys were so funny. Oh my God. Like they had all the different little segments and sound bites. Like they really
put a lot of effort into it.
Like a dedicated show. Yeah, if any of y'all are listening, please bring it back. I miss those telly guys.
Yeah. Well, I've learned I learned how long it takes to edit just audio. I can't imagine video. And so I've learned as a host how to question people, and I pay attention to my own vocabulary and all that sort of stuff so that I don't have to edit. I can just put my little intro and the outro and away we go.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I hope you don't have to edit my sound too much. I keep futzing with this thing. So I feel like
hey, you know what? It's technology. That's what we blame it on.
I know. I'm just like, I hope I don't blow it on the audio or something like that.
No. Everything's been fine. But you know what? This kind of sounds like a good juncture to jump off.
Sure.
It's been an honor to have you on the show, man. And
I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Yeah, I know you're stupid busy all the time. Yeah. we didn't, you know, I know that when you were in BC skiing, that was your own free skiing last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, thankfully I was lucky enough that True invited me to go out on their True trip over to Blanket Glacier with with Kapow guiding.
Oh yes.
Marty over there. Oh my God, that was I tell a lot of people, obviously, with Telemark, like I'm not financially flourishing because of this project, but what I have gained out of it is a lot of friends now. Like I listen to your thing and you're talking about like Sylvia and Nina or something like that. And it's really wild to me that like those are all my friends, like these are all people that I would have never met, never known, had a relationship with if it wasn't for Telemark, which is huge. Cause like now really like, as much as I try to not be the Telemark person, like most of my friends now are mostly coming from Telemark, not purposely, but that's how life's kind of unfolded. And then also just, like to be invited to go with True and ride a helicopter out to Blanket Glacier and hang out with them, and be with such a legend like Marty and stuff like that was like another thing that I've gained out of all the work with this, which I was so awesome. Like I was so stoked to be on that. And like they were rad because when they first invited me, I was like, all right, like, are you looking to make a segment? And they're like, I mean, you can bring your film stuff, but it's just so you can go ski. And honestly, that's like one of the few times I really free ski through the season.
Well, I was going to say, when you're doing all the work that you're doing, filmmaking and stuff, you're not skiing. People don't realize that,
You're on skis a lot, but you're not skiing at all.
Yeah. It's like races and coaching. You're standing around all the time.
Yeah. So no, I feel really lucky, like to all the people I've been able to meet and experiences I've been able to have. And that's, I can talk forever, and that's my little long-winded thing for saying I was in BC, just having fun.
Yeah.
For once. And that was really
well,
cool.
You know what? Being long-winded is, my wife thinks I'm long-winded.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? Like we've never met. This is the first time. It feels like, our conversation is
right.
Like, we've met. We've been friends, for a long time. I guess maybe that's the long-winded part.
It's I definitely get it from my mom, and I even remember as a kid, like, oh my God, she can just keep talking, like. Right. And then I realized that I've picked that up. And even
that's not
people that like, you're chatty, right? I'm like, I don't think I am, but like it just starts.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Thanks for being long-winded. Thank you for all of your endless energy into our sport, and
thanks.
And I think I wanted to I really enjoy the gear stuff that you and Adam, talking about the new boot and talking about the bandit binding and how the brakes retract inside. You know what? That's all great stuff, because there's not a lot of places where we can go out and do ski demos and that sort of stuff. So
that's awesome input. I don't think about that, but that's cool that it's nice to hear people are getting stuff out of our ranting.
I think so.
That's
yeah.
Positive.
Yeah. So anyways, thanks for everything that you do. And I really appreciate it. And tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. I'll do a little bit of the end of the pod plugging. I feel less bad about it since it's on your podcast and not the Pretty Good Telemark Show, where it's like, hey, I'm here to tell you the things that you should go to.
However, you have to understand the listenership is probably a little smaller.
Whatever. If it's one new person, that's awesome. And hopefully they're the ones that start making new telefilms.
Yes.
So you can check us out on Instagram at telecolo_. It's TELECOLO_. You can hit us up on the World Wide Web, the WWs at telecolo.ski. .com was taking over, and they were trying to charge me $10,000 for that domain name. So
that sucks.
Yeah. They're like, are you interested? Like, I don't think you know what this industry is. I'm not pledging out 10 grand for this. So you can check out all what we're doing on there. The biggest thing right now is if you go to Tour and Media, you can see that we have the Worthless Film Tour happening right now. Just started past Friday, where we were touring our third full-length film, Worthless Milk.
However, you know what?
Yeah.
Adam asked this and you didn't answer it. Worthless Milk.
Yeah.
He alluded to the cat thing, and is it the cat thing?
Yeah. So I'll try to not be super long on this. So the very beginning of last season, my partner and I were watching a YouTube video about medieval cats, was the title of it. And it was talking about essentially how they establish the price relationship to various animals and trade and the bartering system and stuff like that. And they actually brought up cats. So there was all these qualities of cats, like their ability to catch mice was something that would make a cat worth more. If it had a burn mark on it, the cat was worth less, because they would get really cold and they would go by the fire and then burn themselves.
Yeah.
And there was all these different like little factors that would change, like how many cats are worth one goat and stuff like that. But there was a legal term to essentially establish the fact that the milk from certain animals provided nothing of importance to humans. And it was legally deemed as worthless milk. And I'll shoot you. I actually found the old document that was translated into English that says it. Because at first I saw it on this YouTube video. I'm like, there's no way worthless milk was a real term. But I found the document. It's real. It's cited. So I feel better about it now. But they essentially established that worthless milk was defined as the milk coming from, I believe, definitely a cat, a dog, and then maybe a horse. That was essentially this element of this animal that provided no benefit in their bartering system. So the fact that they provided milk didn't mean you got more goat or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, one, hilarious that was in it, but two, I thought there was kind of a bigger thing there, that it's really interesting that something that exists for this animal that legitimately provides life and sustenance as they're growing is deemed absolutely of zero worth to somebody else. And to me, beyond the hilarity and the jokes and just the weirdness factor of all this stuff, it was like kind of this conundrum of kind of perspective, where there's a lot of stuff that we hold very important that no one gives a shit about.
Exactly.
And Telemark is definitely one of them, right?
Yes.
And I think we spend a lot of our lives going through this flux of making sacrifices to do A, B, or C.
Yep.
And sometimes we get lost on if the benefits of A, B, or C are based on something that's truly of value to us, or it's through societal pressures from somebody else, where it's like, oh, I need to have this house and this job that makes X amount of money and this and that and the other, which is kind of like a cliche thing that I think we all existentially have gone through and ski films have had and stuff. But to me, it just like really hit me hard, this whole idea. And it really kind of hit me personally too, on like the things I'm doing. Am I doing it because it seems like it's worth something to somebody else?
Yeah.
And like, who gives a shit about their definition? Is it worth it to us and of value to us? So that's the origin story for Worthless Milk.
Oh, very cool. I love that information. My wife says,
yeah.
That's that worthless information you get. But I have a good friend who says, no, man, that's like shit that might get you laid someday.
It is. It's really funny to see people's reactions to the title, because our first two titles were pretty standard, and then all of a sudden you get worthless milk.
Yeah.
And I think people were caught off guard, and I saw where one person was trying to get a caravan together from Summit County to go to the Denver premiere.
Yes.
And they put a thing on their forum saying, hey, we're trying to get people together to go see the Worthless Milk, in quotes, film tour. And he said, yes, it's called Worthless Milk. Yes, it's all lowercase. I'm not making this up. I'm like, I love that people are reacting to that, but there is kind of a deeper story to
Yeah,
it,
that's
too.
awesome. Well, I'm glad that you answered it.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you took the time to speak to this old guy about you, which is good.
No, I love it. Thanks so much for having me. This was again, it's cliche to say this was super fun, but this was actually nice. Like, I got zero sleep last night. I'm like, oh God, I don't know if a podcast sounds good, but this has been great. I feel alive now. We're good.
Nice. Well, thanks so much again for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, crew. Another episode of the Skippy Report out. Huge thank you to CJ Coccia for sitting down with me for this longer than usual podcast. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did. Props to this young fella for carrying a flame of our sport that people think is dead, but who cares what they say, right? Because they don't care that we tally. Anyways, make sure you show him his love. Check him out on his social media contacts, and make sure you look for the Worthless tour of his movie, Worthless Milk. Thanks again for sitting down and choosing to listen to good old Skippy talk about telemark skiing and other things. Peace out.